Oscar Wilde quotes, "Man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask, and he will tell the truth. I can resist everything except temptation. A man's face is his autobiography. A woman's face is her work of fiction. True friends stab you in the front. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. Anyone who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. Everything in moderation, including moderation. Art is the most intense mode of individualism that the world has known. You don't love someone for their looks, or their clothes, or their fancy car, but because they sing a song only you can hear. I am not young enough to know everything. The only difference between the saint and the sinner is that every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. I have the simplest of tastes. I am always satisfied with the best. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I am saying. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. There is only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. I can never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read on the train. You can never be overdressed or overeducated. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Flower of Love poem by Oscar Wilde.
Sweet, I blame you not, for mine the fault was, had I not been made of common clay. I had climbed the higher heights unclimbed yet, seen the fuller air, the larger day. From the wildness of my wasted passion I had struck a better, clearer song. Lit some lighter light of freer freedom, battled with some hydra-headed wrong. Had my lips been smitten into music by the kisses that but made them bleed. You had walked with vice and the angels on that verdant and enamelled mead. I had trod the road which Dante treading saw the suns of seven circles shine. Perchance had seen the heavens opening, as they opened to the Florentine. And the mighty nations would have crowned me, who am crownless now and without name. And some orient dawn had found me kneeling on the threshold of the house of fame. I had sat within that marble circle where the oldest bard is as the young. And the pipe is ever dropping honey, and the lyre's strings are ever strung. Keats had lifted up his hymeneal curls from out the poppy-seeded wine. With ambrosial mouth had kissed my forehead, clasped the hand of noble love in mine. And at springtide, when the apple blossoms brush the burnished bosom of the dove, two young lovers lying in an orchard would have read the story of our love. Would have read the legend of my passion, known the bitter secret of my heart. Kissed as we have kissed, but never parted as we two are fated now to part. For the crimson flower of our life is eaten by the cankerworm of truth. And no hand can gather up the fallen withered petals of the rose of youth. Yet I am not sorry that I loved you. What else had I a boy to do? For the hungry teeth of time devour, and the silent-footed years pursue. Rudderless, we drift athwart a tempest, and when once the storm of youth is past, without lyre, without lute or chorus, death the silent pilot comes at last. And within the grave there is no pleasure, for the blind worm battens on the root. And desire shudders into ashes, and the tree of passion bears no fruit. What else had I to do but love you? God's own mother was less dear to me. And less dear the Cytherean rising like an argent lily from the sea. I have made my choice, have lived my poems, and, though youth is gone in wasted days, I have found the lover's crown of myrtle better than the poet's crown of bays. Oscar Fingalo Flaherty Wills Wilde, October 16, 1854, November 30, 1900, was an Irish poet and playwright. After writing in different forms throughout the 1880s, he became one of London's most popular playwrights in the early 1890s. He is best remembered for his epigrams and plays, his novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, and the circumstances of his imprisonment and early death. Wilde's parents were successful Anglo-Irish intellectuals in Dublin. Their son became fluent in French and German early in life. At university, Wilde read greats, he proved himself to be an outstanding classicist, first at Dublin, then at Oxford. He became known for his involvement in the rising philosophy of aestheticism, led by two of his tutors, Walter Pater and John Ruskin. After university, Wilde moved to London into fashionable cultural and social circles. As a spokesman for aestheticism, he tried his hand at various literary activities. He published a book of poems, lectured in the United States and Canada on the New English Renaissance in art and interior decoration, and then returned to London where he worked prolifically as a journalist. Known for his biting wit, flamboyant dress and glittering conversational skill, Wilde became one of the best-known personalities of his day. At the turn of the 1890s, he refined his ideas about the supremacy of art in a series of dialogues and essays, and incorporated themes of decadence, duplicity, and beauty into what would be his only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1890. The opportunity to construct aesthetic details precisely, and combine them with larger social themes, drew Wilde to write drama. He wrote Salome, 1891, in French while in Paris, but it was refused a license for England due to an absolute prohibition on the portrayal of biblical subjects on the English stage. Unperturbed, Wilde produced 4 society comedies in the early 1890s, which made him one of the most successful playwrights of late Victorian London.